My mom threw me out to focus on her new kids. Now, I'm successful. She wants me to pay for Sibling's college. I'm 33 now, working in upper management at a company I've been with since graduation, but the path here wasn't easy. Some days, I still catch myself wondering how things might have been different if my mother had made different choices. But let me start from the beginning. My mom had me when she was 20. My biological father wasn't in the picture. They'd only been together briefly, and when she got pregnant, she gave him the choice to walk away. He took it without hesitation. Rather than pursue child support through a bitter legal battle, my mom chose to go it alone, supported by my grandparents who helped her finish her education and start her career. Looking back, I wonder if her resentment toward my father somehow transferred to me, though it would take years to surface. Those early years were just the two of us, living in a small apartment above my grandparents' garage. My mom worked hard, taking extra shifts at her job while studying for her degree in web development. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents who doted on me as their first grandchild. Despite our modest circumstances, I remember being happy. My mom would read to me every night before bed, and weekends were filled with trips to the park or local library. She wasn't perfect, but she was trying her best. Everything changed when I was 8, and she met Harry at work. He was different from the other men she'd dated, more stable, more serious about building a future together. They dated for 3 years before getting married, and while Harry and I were never particularly close, we got along well enough. He treated me with a kind of distant politeness, like a houseguest who had stayed too long but was too well-mannered to say anything about it. The first signs of trouble appeared gradually. My mom started spending less time with me, focused entirely on building her new life with Harry. Family dinners became less frequent, and when we did eat together, the conversation revolved around their work or their plans for the future. I tried harder to get their attention, getting perfect grades, taking on extra chores, anything to show I could be valuable to their new family unit. Looking back, I realize how desperate those attempts must have seemed. 4 years into their marriage, my mom got pregnant with twins. Everyone was thrilled, including me at first. I imagined being a big brother, helping with the babies, finally having siblings to play with and protect. I even started babysitting for neighbors to gain experience. But as my mom's pregnancy progressed, her attitude toward me grew increasingly cold and distant. The twins' arrival marked the beginning of the end of my place in that family, though I was too young to see it then. I was 16 when my mom and Harry sat me down for what they called a serious chat. "Sweetie," my mom started, not quite meeting my eyes, "Harry and I need to discuss something important with you." Harry cleared his throat. "With the twins now, our expenses have increased significantly. We need to think about their future." "What do you mean?" I asked, though somehow I already knew where this was heading. "We can't support everyone in the house anymore," my mom said softly. "The twins, they deserve more resources right now. They're just babies." Those words still echo in my head sometimes. Deserve more. As if love and support were finite resources that had to be rationed. I can still see my mom's face, the way she looked everywhere but at me, as she essentially told me I was worth less than her new family. The irony wasn't lost on me. 2 successful web developers making good money suddenly couldn't support a teenager and 2 infants. Our house was spacious, their cars were new, and Harry had just finished renovating his home office. But it wasn't about money. It was about wanting me gone, and they knew I had enough pride to take the hint. I packed my bags that same day, refusing to let them see me cry as I walked to my grandparents' house. My grandparents were furious with my mom but maintained contact to stay in their grandchildren's lives. I understood that twins shouldn't suffer for their parents' choices. Being older, my grandparents couldn't support me financially, so at 16, I started working part-time at a local coffee shop while finishing high school. My grades suffered a bit, but I managed to maintain a decent enough GPA to get into college. When college acceptance letters started arriving, I faced another harsh reality. My mom and Harry refused to help with financial aid applications or cosign student loans. Again, citing their need to save resources for the twins. It was my uncle who finally stepped in, becoming my loan cosigner with the simple request that I never default. His faith in me became a driving force in my determination to succeed. Throughout college, I worked continuously to stay afloat and start paying off my loans early. I took summer classes to graduate faster, picked up extra shifts at the campus bookstore, and even started a small side business doing web design for local businesses. The irony of following in my mother's professional footsteps wasn't lost on me, but I was good at it, and it paid well. My mom didn't attend my graduation. In fact, after I left for college, we barely had any contact at all. I'd see glimpses of her life through social media, family vacations, the twins' school achievements, perfectly staged holiday photos that showed no trace of her first child. Eventually, I blocked her on everything and focused on building my own life. It was hard. Those first few years out of college were a constant struggle to cover rent, utilities, and loan payments on an entry-level salary, but I made it work. My early career was marked by long hours and relentless determination. I took every training opportunity, volunteered for difficult projects, and slowly built a reputation as someone who could be counted on to deliver results. Years passed, and I climbed the corporate ladder through sheer persistence and hard work. Recently, I received a major promotion, one of the youngest people in the company to reach this level of management. I kept the promotion relatively quiet, only telling a few close friends and my uncle, who'd helped me get through college. Unfortunately, he mentioned it to my mom at a family gathering, suggesting she reach out to congratulate me. He meant well, but he had no idea of the chaos his well-intentioned comment would unleash. Instead of congratulations, she and Harry showed up at my door demanding money. The years hadn't been kind to them. Their business venture had failed, leaving them deep in debt, and with the twins approaching college age, they needed financial help. "We heard about your promotion," my mother said, her voice dripping with practiced sweetness. "You must be doing very well for yourself now." "What do you want?" I asked, already dreading the answer. "The twins are getting ready for college," Harry jumped in. "And with our business situation, well, we thought maybe you'd want to help your siblings." My mother nodded eagerly. "It would be a chance to make things right between us, to show you care about your family." The audacity was stunning. They tried to frame it as me making up for cutting them out of my life, as if I owed them something after they'd kicked me out and refused to help with my own education. "Make things right?" I laughed bitterly. "Like you made things right when I needed help with college." "That was different," my mother protested. "We had young children then, and I was what? Just an inconvenience?" When they started talking about family obligation and responsibility, I couldn't hold back my bitter laughter. I reminded them of their words about saving resources for the kids who deserved it more, and suggested they use those saved resources for the twins' education. The look of shock on their faces would have been comical if it wasn't so infuriating. When I asked them to leave, they became defensive, claiming I'd been overenthusiastic and annoying as a teenager. They tried to guilt me about my mom's sacrifices raising me alone, as if caring for your child is some extraordinary favor, rather than basic parental responsibility. The argument escalated until I threatened to call the police, finally getting them to leave. But it wasn't over. My mom started sending daily emails listing everything she'd done for me as a child. Every doctor's appointment, every school supply purchased, every sacrifice made. When I blocked one email address, she'd create another. Her desperation seemed to grow with each passing day. Then she showed up at my workplace, thankfully on the day I was out sick. My colleagues were uncomfortable with her aggressive behavior, and security had to escort her out. The incident was embarrassing, but it also strengthened my resolve to maintain firm boundaries. The final straw came when she ambushed me outside my house. I had my phone in hand, ready to call the police, when I saw her. "You ungrateful little brat," she screamed, lunging at me. "After everything I've done for you." "Stay back," I warned, dialing 911. "I mean it, Mom. Don't you dare call the police on your own mother." She made a grab for my phone. "I raised you. I sacrificed everything for you. You abandoned me," I shouted back, trying to keep her at bay. You threw me away like I was nothing. It was like watching a stranger wearing my mother's face. She was screaming about ingratitude and family loyalty while trying to grab my phone. Through the chaos, I heard my neighbor yelling, "I'm calling the police. Leave him alone." Other neighbors emerged from their houses, witnesses to this surreal scene of a mother attacking her adult child. Someone pulled her away from me as sirens wailed in the distance. I pressed charges, and now I'm in the process of getting a restraining order. Harry has taken the twins to stay with his parents, clearly recognizing that my mother's behavior has become dangerous and unstable. Even my grandparents, who stood by her through everything else, have finally distanced themselves after witnessing her recent actions. They told me they feel guilty for not doing more when I was younger, but I don't blame them. They did what they could, providing a safe haven when I needed it most. Looking back, I realize I spent years hoping my mom would come to her senses and try to make things right. Every birthday, every holiday, every major life event, there was a small part of me waiting for her to reach out with genuine remorse and a desire to rebuild our relationship. But her recent actions have shown me who she truly is. Someone who only saw me as useful when she needed something from me. I'm done feeling guilty about maintaining boundaries with someone who discarded me the moment I became inconvenient. I'm looking to move to a bigger house now that I can afford it. And for the first time in my life, I feel truly at peace with my decision to keep my mother out of my life. The scared 16-year-old who packed his bags and walked away from the only home he'd known has grown into a strong, successful man who won't be manipulated or guilted into sacrificing his own well-being. Sometimes the hardest part of growing up is accepting that the parent you needed isn't the parent you got. But that acceptance can also be freeing. I've built a life I'm proud of, surrounded myself with people who genuinely care about me, and learned that family isn't always about blood. It's about who stands by you when things get tough. As for my mother, I hope she gets the help she clearly needs. But that's not my responsibility anymore. I've learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do, for yourself and others, is to walk away and let them face the consequences of their own choices.